Devion tutorials. So we'll be continuing from where we stop on our WhatsApp. Balancing chemical equation. So I said something. When balancing chemical equation, you have to add number to the back of the element or compound, not to this place, the subscript. For instance, if you add 2 here, you have changed this compound from water to hydrogen peroxide. So now let me give this example, and take note for your stage. Now currently we balance chemical equations with trial and error. So look at this example. Iron reacts with water to give magnetite plus hydrogen. I balanced it before, that's why I cancel this place. So iron plus water give magnetite and hydrogen. So in a chemical equation, there's what we call the left hand side, the right hand side. The left hand side is the what? Reactants. The right hand side is the product. So you can say iron reacts with water to produce magnetite and hydrogen. So we are going to share the left hand side. How many iron atom is here? 1. How many hydrogen atom is here? 2. How many oxygen atom is here? 1. We are going to share the right hand side. How many how many iron atom is here? 3. How many oxygen atom? 4. How many hydrogen atom? 2. So if you notice, only the hydrogen atom is balanced with the hydrogen atom. So to be a science student, you need to be smart. So you are going to think, if this one have 1 iron, this one have 3 iron, for you to balance the iron on both sides, you have to add 3 here. 3. So we now have what? 3 Fe. So it's now become balanced. 3 iron here, 3 iron here. But the oxygen here is what? 4. So to make here 4 oxygen, remember this H2O is, this O miss 1 oxygen. So to make it 4, you add 4 to the back. Then you now have 4 oxygen here, 4 oxygen here. But take note, when you add 4 oxygen here, it will multiply everything here. So 4 times 2 hydrogen, it will have 8 hydrogen. But if you check here, here is not still remain 2 hydrogen. So to make here 8 hydrogen like this one, you add 4 here. So this is the balanced equation. Are you getting it? You must be smart, and we use trial and error. Let's give another example. What is this? C2H26 plus oxygen. So what is C2H26? This is ethane plus oxygen. Give you carbon dioxide and water. This is what we call combustion of hydrocarbon. You see that in organic chemistry. In the left hand side, you have how many carbon? 2 carbon. How many hydrogen? 6 hydrogen. You write all of them down. Oxygen, 2 oxygen. How many carbon here? 1 carbon. How many oxygen here? 3 oxygen. How many hydrogen here? So if you check these two, nothing is balanced. So to balance these two, you first think, how can I balance this carbon to make it 2? You add 2 here. So once you add 2 here, 2 carbon here, 2 carbon here, the carbon is now balanced. But you will now multiply these 2 times oxygen 2 here. 2 times oxygen 2 is 4. 4 plus 1 is what? 5. Are you getting it? 5. So now you are now having 5 oxygen. But we are not done yet. How many hydrogen is here? 6. 6 hydrogen. To make this place 6 hydrogen, what will you do? You add 3 at the back. So 3 times 2 6. Hydrogen 6. So the hydrogen and the carbon is what? Balanced. It now remains oxygen. So we have how many oxygen here? 2. Then here 2 times 2, 4 oxygen here. Plus how many oxygen here? 3 times 1, 3. 7 oxygen. 7 oxygen. Then how many oxygen here do we have here? 2. So to balance this place, we have 7 oxygen here. To balance this place, what will you do to make this one 7 oxygen? Times what? 3 and a half. Once you do 2 times 3 and a half, it will give you what? 7 oxygen. But in simple chemical equation, we don't like using decimal. So instead of writing 3.5, we'll put what? 7/2. This is how we get it here. C2C6H plus 7/2. Instead of writing 3.5, oxygen equals to 2CO2 plus 3H2O. So this 7/2, because we want to clear the fraction, we'll multiply everything by 2. So here we'll add 2 to everything here. Then we'll multiply here by 2. Once you do 2 times 7/2O2, 2 will cancel 2. You have 7O2. Then you still multiply here by 2. It will turn to 4CO2. You multiply here by 2. It will turn to 6H2O. So this is the balanced equation. This is the same thing with this. It's just that we multiply everything here by 2, so that instead of having decimal, we have whole number. So now let's go into the calculation parts from chemical equation. Let's look at this. H2SO4 plus KOH give you K2SO4 plus 2H2O. This is what we call neutralization reaction. Acid reacts with base to give salt and water. So this is 1 mole of H2SO4. 1 mole of H2SO4 is the what? Total atomic mass of the compound. Are you getting it? So from here, we can deduce that 1 mole of H2SO4 reacts with what? 2 mole of Na, 2 mole of KOH to give 1 mole of K2SO4 plus 2 mole of water. That is it. 1 mole reacts with 2 mole to give 1 mole and 2 mole. But this 1 mole of H2SO4 is 98 gram. How do you get 98 gram? Hydrogen is 1. S is what? 32. Oxygen is 16. So 16 times 4, 64. Plus what? S, 32. That is 96. 96 plus 1 times 2, 98. So 1 mole of H2SO4 contains 98 gram. Then this one is what? 2 mole. So how do you calculate 2 mole? 2 mole means 2 times 1 mole. What is 1 mole? I said 1 mole is the total mass of the compound. What is the total atomic mass of the compound? Potassium is what? 39. 39 plus what is oxygen? 16. Plus what is hydrogen? 1. 39 plus 16 is what? 55 plus 1, 56. 2 times 56 is 112 gram. You do it the same way for here. K2SO4. What is K? K is 39. 39 times 2 is 78. Plus what is S? 32. Plus what is O? O is 60. 16 times 4 is 64. Everything will give 174 gram. Like that, like that. No, let me just give it to the end. H2O. H is what? 1. 1 times 2 is 2. Plus oxygen is 16. 2 plus 16, 18. 18 times 2, 36. So, before we say 1 mole reacts with 2 mole. 1 mole of H2SO4 reacts with 2 mole of KOH to give 1 mole of the salt and 2 mole of water. So instead of writing it like that, we can write 98 gram of H2SO4 reacts with 112 gram of KOH to give 174 gram of K2SO4 and 36 gram of water. So you can represent it as mole. This is representing it as mass. So now let's go to example. Say calculate the mass of lead which will be obtained by heating 35.25 gram of tri-lead tetraoxide in a steam of hydrogen and the mass of water formed at the same time. So they tell you that the mass of lead is 207, the mass of hydrogen is 1, the mass of oxygen is 16. So how do you solve this question? In chemistry, you must be able to learn how to understand. They said what? Tri-lead. Tri-lead means Pb3. Tetra what? Oxide. Tetra means 4. Oxide means oxygen. Pb3O4. React with what? Hydrogen. H2. Then how do you know the product is going to give you? They said calculate the mass of water formed. It means it's going to give you water. Then if you would think as a science student, that's why I say you must be smart. If Pb4 hydrogen and it form water, what will be the remaining element? Lead. So it means once this one reacts with hydrogen, it will give you lead and water. But now we are not going to balance the reaction. I wrote the balance reaction, but let me show you how I balance the reaction. What is here? Pb3O4 or plus H2. We are doing like it's not a balance now. We give you lead and water. How many lead is here? 3. You add 3 to the back of this lead. That is how we get 3 Pb. And notice this equation must be balanced. If not, you have missed the answer no matter what you do. Then how many oxygen is here? 4. 4 H2O. I tell you that this one is representing 1 oxygen. You add 4 to the back here. So once you do 4 oxygen, it will now be balanced. Then you check for the hydrogen. 4 times 2, 8. Then here, you add 4 here, because 4 times 2 will also give you 8. So we can say 1 mole of trilead tetraoxide react with 4 moles of hydrogen gas will give you 3 mole of lead plus 4 mole of water. So what did they ask us to find? Calculate the mass of lead, this one, that will be formed from 35.25 gram of this one. So we are comparing this one and this one. So we are now going to take as a science student from the reaction 1 mole of this one give 3 mole of lead. So how do we get this one? We'll calculate the total mass. 207 times 3 plus 64, that is 685 gram. Then the 3 mole of lead is 621 gram. So in the reaction, 685 gram react with 600 and give out 621 gram. I told you this one is reactant, this one is product. So we can say 685 gram of this produce 621 gram. What will 35.25 gram of this compound produce? We don't know. Abi, do you know? No, we want to solve for it. You say let it be S. So what are you going to do? Cross multiply. S times 685 is equals to what? 621 times. Let me write it here. S times 685. Oh, I've written something there. Let me write it on that. S times 685 is equals to 621 times 35.25. What are you going to do as a science student? Divide both sides by 685. 685. That's how we get it here. So the mass of lead that we are looking for will be what? Cross multiply 621 times 35.25 over 685. Once you do that, the mass of your lead will be 31.96 lead. So the question says, what is the mass of lead that will be produced? 31.96. Very simple. But that is not all. They say calculate the mass of water formed at the same time. So the same method. Look at that question now. Let's go back. 685 gram produce how many mole of water? 4. What is the 4 mole of water in mass? H is what? 1. 1 times 2, 2. Plus oxygen 16. 16 times 2 is what? 18. 18 times 4 is 72. So we can say 685 gram of that compound. 685 gram of, what is the compound? Trilead tetraoxide produce 72 gram water. What will 35.25 of that same compound produce for water? The same thing, we don't know. Or do you know? No, you let it be X. Then what will you do? Cross multiply. That's the same way we do that one. S times this, let me write it here just for record. S times 685 is equals to 72 times 35.25. Divide both sides by coefficient. So that's how we get it here. Once you do it, so you will say 35.25 will produce 3.71 gram of water. Very simple. So let's go to this question. You see, what volume of oxygen measured at STP? STP means standard temperature and pressure. Will be produced on eating 24.5 gram of potassium triazochlorate 5. So the question tells you that potassium is 39, chlorine is 35.5. So remember, before we continue, in our last class I said 1 mole contain 22.4 dm cube. You'll be using that here. So potassium triazochlorate 5, this is it. How do we get it? This is potassium chlorate representing chlorine 5. How do we get chlorine 5? Oh, that will be talking about oxidation number. You might not understand. Just know this is the formula. On eating potassium chlorate 5, it will give you what? Potassium chloride and oxygen. So the question, they're asking what is the volume of oxygen measured at STB. So you are comparing potassium triacylchlorate 5 with oxygen. So see it here, 2 mole of potassium triacylchlorate 5 will produce 3 mole of oxygen. So we'll now find the mass. What is potassium? 39 plus what is chlorine? 35.5 plus what is oxygen? 16 times 3, 48. Once you add everything together, it will be what? 245. Then here, what is oxygen? Oxygen is 16. 16 times 2. 16 times 2 is 32. 32 times 3 is 96. Take note, a molecule of oxygen is O2. So a molecule of oxygen has 36 grams. But an oxygen atom, O on its own, is 32 grams. An oxygen atom on its own has what? 16 grams. That is just by the way. So from this question, 245 gram react with 96 gram. 245 gram of KClO3 will produce 96 gram of water. Then 24.5 gram will produce how many mole of water? A smart science student will not want to waste time. Will just come here because of 2.245 and 24.5. What is the difference? Point come to this place, Abi. We come here and put point to this place. So it will be 9.6 gram. But like I said, that is for smart science student. But let me show you how to get it. The same way you cross multiply. S equals to what? 24.5 times 96 over 245. That will give you 9.6 gram. Take note. So 24.5 triacylchlorate 5 will produce 9.6 gram. But that's not what they ask us. They ask us for the what? Volume. Then what is 1 mole of oxygen gas? 1 mole of oxygen gas is what? 32. Sorry, this is a mistake. 32 gram. So you say 32 gram give you 22.4 dm cube. Like I said, 1 mole contains 22.4 dm cube. Then 9.6 gram will give you how many dm cube? X we don't know. X you cross multiply. Simple. S times what? 32 is equals to 22.4 times 9.6. Divide both sides by 32. 32. Sorry, yes, 32. This is a mistake, typo, error. Then you get your final answer, 6.72 dm cube. Then, okay, I think this is the last question. The video is already getting too long. If 3.15 gram of mercury oxide are thermally decomposed to mercury and oxygen, A. What mass of mercury will be produced? B. How many oxygen molecules will be formed? So take note. We'll first write the compound before balancing. Mercury oxide will give you mercury plus oxygen. So how many oxygen is here? 2. So you add 2 at the back. It will give you what? 2 mercury and 2 oxygen. So to balance this mercury here, you also add 2 here. So from this question, you can say 2 mole of mercury oxide will produce 2 mole of mercury and 1 mole of oxygen. So what is the mass here? The mass of mercury is 208 plus 16. What is the mass of mercury? 208 times 2. Then oxygen gas is 32. So we can say 448 mercury oxide will produce 416 gram of mercury and 32 gram of what? 32 gram of oxygen. If you see this thing, what comes to your mind? Remember when we talk about law of conservation of matter, that we said the reactant must always be equal to the product, the number of atoms. So check it here. 448 is equals to 416 plus 32, which says matter can never be lost nor created. It can only be transferred from one form to another. So that's why I said a balanced equation obey the law of what? Conservation of matter or conservation of mass. So you can see for me that 448 gram, that is by the way, 448 gram will produce 416 gram of mercury. So 3.50 gram will produce what? X. We don't know. That's why I'll put X. So get your final answer, cross multiply. 3.15 times 416 over 448. Your S will be what? 2.93 gram of mercury. So we can say 3.50 gram of mercury oxide will give you 2.93 gram of mercury. Then for the B, if you check our equation again, like I said, 2 mole of mercury oxide will give 1 mole of oxygen. And 1 mole of oxygen is what? 32 gram. But that is not what they're asking us in the question. In the question, they said how many molecules of oxygen will be found. So 448 gram will give you 1 mole of oxygen. The 3.50 gram will give you how many mole of oxygen? We don't know. Oh, this camera is blurry now. We don't know. Then okay, it's clear now. Then we'll put X the same way, the same process, cross multiply. S equals to 3.15 over 448. S equals to 0.07 mole. So this is the number of moles. So 448 gram will produce 1 mole. 3.50 gram will produce 0.07 mole. So in JAMB, if they ask you, you see your question as 0.70 mole, you pick it. But sometimes they will not put it in mole. Take note that 1 mole, let me write it here, is equals to 22.4 dm cube. Is also equals to 6.02 times 10 raised to power 23 atoms, ions, anything like molecules and the likes. This 6.02 times 10 raised to power 23 is what we call Avogadro constants. So to get your number of molecules, you use the mole times what? Avogadro constant. You have 4.2 times 10 raised to power 21 molecules of oxygen oxide. So if you understand, to show that you understand, you will look at this question. I've already balanced the equation for you. I'm not supposed to do that, but so that it will make it easier for you. This is one of the way of producing what? Chlorine. One of the laboratory preparation of chlorine. Manganese reacts with hydrochloric acid to produce manganese chloride plus chlorine plus water. So then I say calculate the mass of hydrochloric acid required to react with 25 gram of manganese 4 oxide. So calculate the mass of this one required to react with this one. So drop your answer in the comment section. I will know you have understand. So please, this is just to remind you to subscribe to Devion Tutorials. After watching this video to the end, just subscribe. And if you want to join our free class on WhatsApp, just message this number 091531777154, and when message it goes straight to the point. Thank you.